Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now in today's video we are going to look at the NV3185 night vision monocular from the company Kinka. Now the genre of night vision optics is a genre that I've covered in the past, looking at some great products from the company Creative XP. But today, looking at this monocular from Kinka, a little bit different. Now similar in terms of overall philosophy, but a little bit different, both in terms of the functionality and also the build quality. Now, I did cover the night vision products in prior videos on my primary Outer Limitless YouTube channel, where I really was looking at them more in terms of the ability to use this in the outdoor hiking, camping, and backpacking application. Now, I did also cover this Kinka in field use in the outdoor application, but kind of because, quite frankly, that's sort of my strength, and I did have a great opportunity to bring this out into the mountains to get some nice detailed footage. But we're just going to use that for the demonstration today on the Outer Limitless 2 channel, while also talking about this for maybe some surveillance, maybe some tactical purposes, maybe some home defense. So not just leveraging this for the outdoors, but leveraging this for the home defense application as well. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go out to the field. I'm gonna show you the field use footage, again, being out in the mountains, but you can sort of see how this would be applicable to you. Then we're gonna come back to the studio and we're gonna look at this in detail. But with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now, before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Kinka who did provide this for review. And so here, getting the Kinka NV3185 out for some field use. You can see it here, looking at a bunch of different scenery. Now, the first thing to keep in mind is this is a 960p video size. So this review has been recorded and exported in 1080. So looking at the 960p, you'll notice it's not quite the same dimensions as the full size of my video. But at the same time, definitely nice quality overall. And the ability for me to bring this out into the backpacking application has worked out extremely well. This particular video shot in literally pretty much pure darkness. Now, in this trip, I did not have a lot of starlight. I did not have a lot of moonlight. And really, later on in the day, this was very, very dark. So the fact that you can see things quite as well as you can has worked out extremely well. There is a little bit of grain when you zoom in, but overall, I do have to say the picture is pretty nice. Now, I found a couple of times I forgot to actually focus, so some of the video footage is a little bit blurry, but that's not on the monocular, that's on me. When I remembered and I took my time and got it really dialed in, the video picture is really clear. And in fact, in a lot of cases, when I had a little bit of a closer subject, you could really see some great detail, even to the point where you could see individual ripples reflecting off the trees. It is absolutely incredible the amount of detail that this was able to pick up on. Now, I found I was able to leverage different infrared levels for different depths of my view, but at the same time, I found as though once it got a little bit far off into the distance, it did kind of lose its effectiveness. But for anything that was mid-range to short range, absolutely incredible the amount of detail that I could pick up on. So if there was an animal or if there was somebody moving through this, I would definitely be able to see it with ease. No problem at all. And even zooming in, I feel as though I'd be able to really pick up on something if I had a hazard, if there was an animal or wildlife that I was concerned with, or anything that I really needed to pay attention to. And even fully zoomed in, there's a pretty good amount of detail. I was impressed overall the amount that I was actually able to see. Now, keep in mind the recording quality and what I was able to see through the viewfinder does differ just a little bit. I feel as though I was actually able to see better live looking through the monocular than I am here in the video footage. And the video footage is pretty sound. So here at this pond, getting nice reflections, good overall detail, a nice clear picture. And as I mentioned, as I pan past different parts of the scenery, it does a pretty good job until I start to get pretty far away. I mean, a couple 100 feet, and after a while, this did start to kind of lose its overall effectiveness, but generally speaking, anything mid-range to close-up, this was very, very effective. And not only that, I also wanted to get a look at this in the daylight conditions. So again, I had to be a little bit careful to remember to focus this. That was partly my fault. So you'll notice that some of the footage a little bit blurry, but then I kind of caught on to things and got it more dialed in. Now again, just a real nice overall quality picture. Not the highest quality, but at the same time doing a nice job. But again, allowing me to zoom in and get in tight on some things I was interested in seeing in a little more detail. The one thing that you need to keep in mind, I did have this tripod mounted, but it was a loose head. I wasn't really keeping it fully locked down. And at distance, you can see it does get a little bit shaky. Now that's partly on the Monocular. That's partly on me moving around and really trying to find my subject and doing the best I can. But you'll see, I kind of get things locked in at a certain point and really hone in on what I'm trying to view. Generally speaking, I think the color quality is reasonable for what you're getting here, and with the overall capability and functionality, especially in the dark, I find this NV3185 to be a nice, pocketable little option. And again, when you compare it against the footage that I get off of my cell phone, actually my cell phone was really struggling to get a good quality, and I would say like contrasty and rich picture. This is a little bit washed out. It was struggling with the sort of hues and the color balance overall. So comparing it versus the Kinka Night Vision Monocular, I think the Kinka actually did a pretty good job. But giving you a nice quality overview and taking a look at the same scenery that I was looking at in the dark, you can see how effective the Monocular really was. So the NV3185, I do have to say, I am pretty impressed. And so there you have it, a look at this Kinka NV3185 Night Vision Monocular. Again, generally speaking, very good. I am happy with this performance. I'm happy with the overall functionality, the overall programming, and how this really worked for me. Now again, that was in the outdoors, that was in the mountains, but let's think about it a little bit from the sort of surveillance and home self-defense perspective. I mean, bottom line is, yeah, could you get some exterior cameras? Could you have a surveillance system? Could you potentially have some security built into your house and your windows and sensors and things like that? Sure. But this, for as simple as it is great to add to your overall protection system. Not just being limited to what is static, but what you can now take on the move. And the fact of the matter is, this is pocketable. It's easy to carry. It has great overall picture. I was actually very surprised and impressed at how easy this was to use. And this does also have some benefits above some of the other models that I've looked at in the past, and we'll get into that. But the reason for me why I'm covering this on my firearms portion of my channel, well, again, I think this is something that for everybody, you could certainly add this to your overall security system. It's not about one piece of technology, but how all the different things that you have really weigh into this. And if shit was hitting the fan and you needed the ability to actually kind of look around or snoop around, I do think this would come into play. Now, could you go with a high-powered flashlight and illuminate every single corner of everywhere? Well, yeah, you certainly could. But wouldn't that give your position away? Where this is actually pretty straightforward, and apart from a little bit of a glow on your face, which I think if you're careful, you could really minimize. But apart from that, you're pretty much silent. You're pretty much undetectable. And you could really go to the darkest corners of your property to get a vantage point. And I think there's a lot of good advantages there. And the other thing where you could use this is if you need to hunt predators. Now, where I am, it is a little bit limited in my ability to hunt at night. Generally speaking, you can't hunt at night. However, in certain cases, you can stalk and hunt predators. That's another place where this would come into play. So if you're somebody that has the need to hunt at night, this would be a fantastic option. Again, extremely lightweight, totally packable. It's something that you could put on a stand if you really wanted to. It's very quick and easy, and again, pretty much undetectable. It's going to help illuminate the eyes and retinas on animals and really give you the ability to identify your target. So overall, I think there are a number of applications for this in the firearms sort of genre, and this Kinka NV3185 will do the job. So with that, let's look at this in detail and compare it against some things that we've talked about in the past. And so here, taking a look at the Kinka NV3185 Monocular side by side with this Creative XP Glass Condor. Now, again, I did cover this in a prior review. This is very good, extremely nice, but a couple of things that I think give the NV3185 a little bit of an advantage. Now, granted, this has a wonderful build quality, extremely high quality in terms of the optics and also the recording capability, and then it also has audio, but the Kinka, not too bad. In fact, the advantage is, well, first off, it is much smaller, so a little more pocketable, which I do like. And also, if you look at it, well, the Glass Condor, although fantastic, really requires you to put one eye up to the lens. So looking through this at night, imagine having like a small TV literally projecting into one eyeball, and then what that would look like when you take this away. It's disorienting, and it actually makes one eye extremely blurry. But on the Kinka, I did not have that problem because you literally don't need to put this up to your eye. Rather, you can look at it from a distance. And that really does, in a way, help to preserve your night vision. Now, you're better off, in my opinion, having your little LED TV like blasting in two eyeballs rather than one. It's less disorienting and it's at least even. And so it's kind of like having a flashlight that, you know, after you flash a flashlight in a dark room, well, yeah, you have a little bit of sort of night vision problems, but it goes away fairly fast. That's the case with the Kinka Monoculars. So having the screen in the back here with two eyes being able to look at it, to me, that's an advantage. Now getting into the details here, as we press the button, so long pressing here, that will turn this on. And you can see here, getting into this, it's going to start. So here, no problem. There you can see your screen. Now we are far too close inside here to get any benefit of being able to see anything. But generally speaking, you pretty much just have the ability to adjust your focus here. So one focus ring, very straightforward, where again, on the Creative XP, very nice, but you end up with two. So one on the front and one on the back, which is fine, but it just overcomplicates things by a little bit. The Kinka is very simple and very straightforward, and there's nothing to it. Very easy. The one place that does get you into a little bit of trouble is as you're spinning this, your hands go right in front of the infrared beam emitter. So that will kind of mess with you if you're not careful. You do need to sort of grab this from the top and work from the top so you don't accidentally put your hand in front of that beam emitter, but that's the only drawback I found in terms of the focus. Now looking at the top, this is your infrared level as well as zoom. So when you long press, that will do the zoom. And actually, if we zoom in the camera, if you look at the right-hand side, you'll see a little slider is moving down and up. Well, that's the zoom. And you'll see that is pretty easy. So that's your zoom in and out. So that's when you long press. Or if you single press, well, that's going to change between your different infrared modes. So single pressing between the intensities as you work your way all the way through. And now off. Again, single press. That turns your infrared on. Your different intensities. And if you listen careful, little click. That little click there, that's your infrared mode. Now it is a little bit different with the Glass Condor. This requires this filter, which is, I don't know, it's fine. It does its job, but now you're managing a filter on top of that. It's not a big deal, but just having this kind of flapping around, that kind of stinks a little bit. You do need this on when you're in the infrared mode. But the nice thing is, With the Kinka, well, you don't get into any of that. It's just all sort of self-contained. So again, a little more compact and a little more manageable. Now you do have the menu button on the side, which when you get into that allows you to get into all your programming modes. You do need to spend a little time getting used to it, but you use the buttons on the top to kind of pan between those, no problem at all. And it works very well. I found after a little bit of practice, I was able to make it through all the menus and didn't struggle too much. Then the middle button here, this is your mode. So selecting the mode, well here, that's your playback. Then you end up with your video mode, and then you end up with your photo mode. So very straightforward, just toggling between those modes. And other than that, this on the top is your record button. So whether you're in the video mode or you're in the photo mode, that's what you use to start the recording. Now, unfortunately, there is no audio. That is one drawback, where on the Glass Condor, you do get a little bit of audio, and it's actually pretty good. And what I like about that from my perspective is, well, I've actually been syncing up some of my infrared footage with other video, and having the audio allows me to sync it perfectly. If not, you're kind of making assumptions with your footage and trying to make it work. So that's one place where at least having audio does help. And imagine if you needed that for some sort of, and I would say, evidence. Again, going back to the idea that this could be used for surveillance, it could be used to defend your home, and well, at that point, having the audio feed could be critical to some level of evidence. So I think that's a bit of a drawback, where the Glass Condor does afford me the audio, but unfortunately the Kinka NV3185 does not. Now additionally, in the packaging here, we'll take a quick look. You'll see this does come with some very basic stuff. So a cleaning cloth, a cable to connect this, and then your user's manual. This does not come with a pouch. So that's another little bit of a drawback. It does not have anything to protect it. Now again, not a big deal. I've been able to work my way around that, and if you have a small pouch, that would definitely help. Where something like the Glass Condor does come with a case. And so taking a look at this, here's your battery compartment, slides open. I've opted to use some rechargeable batteries. Now this is not rechargeable. You do have to take these physically out of the unit to recharge it. That's another little drawback and advantage going to the Creative XP Glass Condor. Unfortunately, these do need to be recharged outside of the unit. I would love the ability to simply pop open this little side compartment, which here you can see struggling just a little bit. It's kind of tight, and I have literally no fingernails at all. But popping that open here, you can see that is your USB, so a micro USB connector that's pretty much just used to literally transfer your files from the memory card to your computer. And it does come with a 32 gigabyte memory card, which is nice. So at least it does come with the memory that you need to store your recordings onto the device. And also on the bottom, you can see this is threaded to have some sort of a tripod adapter. So for me, I have a lot of different tripod options. I'll simply thread one of my boot adapters on there so I can drop this on my tripod. And that's exactly what I did while I was out on the trails. And so, all right, guys, there you have it. A look at the NV3185 Night Vision Monocular from Kinka. Again, I'd like to say thank you very much to the people at Kinka who did provide this for review. And as I mentioned a number of times, good overall functionality, great overall programming. I like the functions and I like how this performs. Again, I think there's a great place for this for everybody. It's not necessarily the outdoor application, the indoor application. It's kind of something that has a wide variety of applications, which makes this versatile, makes it something that you can enjoy, whether it's from wildlife, identification of predators, through surveillance, and the ability to maintain a safe household. I definitely think this is something worth paying attention to. And if you like this content, do me a favor, take a look at my Outer Limitless YouTube channel, which is my primary channel. It has everything from hiking, camping, and backpacking excursions, and everything from the night vision technology that we've talked about, both binoculars and monoculars, everything else from shelter systems, sleep systems, backpacks, knives, axes, flashlights, you name it. That's my Outer Limitless YouTube channel. So all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.